Greetings, beloved audience. I welcome you to this episode of BHS Pulse. I am Mohammad bin Asiaf, the Deputy Head Boy of Burnhall School, and I am honored to welcome our esteemed guest Ahmed Pathan to this platform. He is the former head boy of our school and is currently studying his second year of computer science at Carnegie Mellon University, Qatar, after securing an impressive 100% scholarship. Kudos to you, Ahmed.
Thank you so much.
You walked these corridors as a student, as a leader, and now as an inspiration. How does it feel to be back here, not as a student, but as a guest?
Well, it always feels like a second home. Like 14 years ago, I stepped into this institution as a five-year-old child who's like eagerly waiting for his parents to pick him up again from the classroom, from the kindergarten block, and at one point you're crying and wailing and wanting to go back, and like 14 years later, this is your second home. So it feels so great to come back to this institution, to witness all these buildings and to feel the air, really, to feel that you're back home. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Do you feel any change, like you've taken a round or two around the school, and do you feel like something that's a very big change from your time or something like that among the students, infrastructure or anything?
Yeah, I think the curiosity and the feeling of taking initiative, I think that has always been the very hallmark of Burnhallians in general. So I always feel that that feeling has never died down. Even when I stepped into the institution, I saw like so many students taking out different activities, participating in different events, and that makes you feel that the student community is alive. And I think I myself, when I was the head boy, I saw that. I always have seen that, and that has been my inspiration for this community, and that has continued to shape me. So yeah, definitely feeling the old vibe here.
So at what point did you know you wanted to go abroad? Like recently, I myself have been considering going with the medical subject, and I plan on being in India. What do you feel like you gave that preference to computer science or non-medical side, and then why outside?
So in essence, like everything boils down to your preferences. Like what sort of a student environment do you want to be in for the next 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years of your life? What sort of a curriculum you want to study in? What sort of a research opportunities or extracurricular opportunities do you want to consider yourself for? Like it really depends on your preferences. But for me personally, I always wanted to study outside India because for me, the Indian education system in some sense was a bit lacking in terms of instilling that sense of freedom in me so that I could like explore a variety of subjects. I could explore my interests, and I could explore like what I actually wanted to pursue rather than just sticking to one subject or one field that I chose, let's say at the age of 16, and then just like regret my entire life about choosing that one stream. So I wanted to explore more and then decide on my path. That's why I chose to study abroad.
So I'm pretty sure the Carnegie University follows an American education system curriculum. How much would you say it's different from our own Indian curriculum, and how much of an advantage or disadvantage, or simply just different if they are not advantages or disadvantages to each other? How much different it is as one student? Could you compare one student studying in the Indian education system? Like how much would he be different as a student, as a thinker, or as a part of society?
Again, like it really depends on like what school you study in. So for example, for us, like the state, as a state board, as someone studying in the state board curriculum, for someone like me or for anyone who's studying in such a curriculum, for them the American education system is going to be a drastic change, because in that sort of a system, in that sort of an education system, everyone expects you to take initiative of your own life, of your own career, and of your own degree. So you are expected to plan the next 4 years of your life based on a set of courses that are given to you, and you are expected to draft your own schedule. They give you a list of courses that you need to complete in order to obtain your degree, and they are going to be like, oh, you have 4 years, you can choose these courses, you can take these courses whenever you like. You may take 4 courses in one semester, 6 courses in another semester. They don't really give you any sort of heads up on that. It's your responsibility to take accountability of your own career. So
wouldn't you say that बच्चा जो इस वक्त पे होता है, he's not really prepared for the difficulties of life or to choose his own destiny or all that, because he doesn't have that experience. So like there could be a big problem if you make a mistake or mess up it. What do you say?
See, I completely agree with you, and that's the reason, like at the age of 18, at the age of 19, that's exactly the reason why you need to take accountability of your actions, because otherwise you're never going to learn how to like show up and stand up for yourself. Like it's not as if that you're completely abandoned by the university. It's just that you're going to have your own mentor who is going to be a professor, who is going to know everything about your aspirations, about your career goals, who is going to guide you at every step. But in the end, the final decision lies with you with respect to your career. In terms of the courses you want to take, in terms of the degree you want to pursue, that sense of freedom, you don't really have to stick with, let's say, one degree or one subject just because you got, let's say, a rank in one of the entrance tests 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and now you realize that, oh, I don't really want to pursue that degree. That sort of things don't happen in an American or even in the European education system. So in that sense, you are given that freedom, but you also have that responsibility of making sure that you pursue what you want to pursue, but at the same time you are responsible for your own actions. So I think this ripe age of 19, 20 or even 18 is the perfect moment for you to like learn the skill of self-management, of self-accountability. So yeah, for us Kashmiris in particular, we live in a very homogeneous society where like everyone is basically from the same ethnicity, basically from the same religion. So for us, adapting to a diverse or to a multicultural environment, it's pretty jarring at first, but I would say that it has been a really great experience for me. The transition was pretty tough, like when I remember still arriving in Qatar back in August last year, and you see on the airport, like you see a sea of different people, like from various ethnicities, from various languages, from various linguistic backgrounds, and then you have to like navigate those cultural differences, because you realize that in every culture there are like different nuances, people take offense to different things, people appreciate different things, and you have to be really sensitive of that. So for me, that was like the biggest challenge that I faced earlier, and for anyone like who's navigating this transition, they'll have to first adapt to living in a multicultural setting. And in essence, like if you're working in any metropolitan city, or if you're working in any diversity as diverse as Doha, Dubai, or many of the European cities, you will get to experience that, and it's a skill that you need to cherish as a professional. Eventually, it also helps you build tolerance, it also helps you build appreciation of other cultures, and it also helps you question your own cultural values sometimes. And I think that's a really great thing to have. I think for an individual who is in his or in her 20s or even in their 30s, getting exposure to different experiences, getting to interact with different people is always a learning experience. So the transition can be difficult. You might face racism, you might face xenophobia, you might even be othered by other people on occasions. You might not feel welcomed at times in various settings, but you need to be resilient, because at the end of the day, you got to realize that the other person from the other side of the table, they are also facing the same dilemma as you. They are also trying to like navigate this cultural barrier. So even if they appear to be cold, even if they appear to be unwelcoming towards you. Perhaps it might be their own insecurities that are reflecting and that they are projecting on you. In the end, you got to realize that the person on the other side of the table, they too are like navigating these insecurities. They are also navigating the cultural barriers that is set between you. So at the end of the day, everyone is human, everyone is insecure to some extent, everyone is lacking that sort of a appreciation which we got to develop together as two different individuals. And honestly, in my opinion, nobody is incapable of becoming tolerant, becoming appreciative of other cultures. So you got to be patient, you got to trust the process, and inshallah it will be fine.
Kashmiris really have been an isolated community, even from the 90s, 70s, 80s, all those times, curfews and militancy and all. So Kashmiris have really become like this isolated group that really doesn't interact with other ethnicities and all. So I really think they should get a bit more exposure to this. On a lighter note, has it ever been that you've got into an awkward situation due to not knowing the other person's culture, accidentally offending them or something like that?
I mean, I would say that, yeah, obviously, like, let's say coming from a South Asian background, your accent might not be the most palpable accent for many communities out there. So at times I had to like repeat myself twice or thrice just for the other person to understand like a single sentence of mine in English language. So that used to be awkward at times, because then you think that, okay, maybe I just don't know how to speak in English or something. But like in the end, like when you look back, you might feel bad at that time, you might feel awkward, you might feel uncomfortable, but in the end, when you look back, these are the memories to laugh at. Like some of these people whom I've had these awkward experiences with, they've become like one of my closest friends. So it all boils down to these experiences and how you learn from it. So yeah.
Well, let's rewind a bit. What would you say being the head boy of this school was to you? Or rather, would you like to highlight any specific skills that you've picked up by being the head boy that have really, really helped you in your life?
Well, for me, I mean, I've spent 14 years of my life in this institution, and that's not like a small number, obviously. So for me, looking up to the examples that had been set forth by my seniors, by my predecessors, the alumni of the school, I think for me, living up to those ideals had always been my priority, and I've always strived to achieve that. And when I was in high school and I finally got the chance to stand up in the student elections, in the student council elections, and actually think of myself in the capacity as the leader of the student community of Burnhall, for me that was a moment of immense pride, not just for my own sake, but also I thought of myself that I can finally give back to the community that had built me to who I am, and that feeling is invaluable. That feeling is immense, and for me personally, serving the institution for so many months, for one whole academic year, it was a blessing. I got to serve the community, I got to lead the school in different initiatives, and not just, for me, there has always been a balance. Like there's on one side, I always want to uphold the legacy of this institution and to preserve those values that have been the hallmark of this institution for so long. So as head boy, I always strive to do that. And on the other hand, I also wanted to be the torchbearer of initiatives that would keep us afloat in the changing times, that would keep us in pace with the happenings of the world, in terms of like setting up new events, setting up new clubs, focusing on the fields that are in trend. So for me, balancing between modernity and legacy was something that meant a lot to me. and that's how I wanted to serve the institution. And like personally speaking, in terms of my own personal development, I think that the skill that I developed in my tenure as the head boy of Burnhall School was the one about negotiating conflict, basically, and finding common ground between your team members. Because when you are the head boy of such a big institution, there is a variety of opinions, both from the students, from your council members, from the staff members, and obviously from the administration. So as the head boy, you have to become a bridge between all these different stakeholders. And these constant negotiations, receiving feedback, receiving suggestions from all these different stakeholders, and fusing them together to develop and lead initiatives that became the common consensus eventually. I think that was something that really defined my tenure as the head boy, and that I personally cherish a lot. So yeah, I think apart from all the other experience, all the other positive experiences I had, this was something that really defined my tenure.
Something I'm really curious about, and I think many other students are as well. Many students find these leaders and all of these great students glorified much different, like not human, above your average human. They're not scared, they're absolutely perfect, crisp, and absolutely good at everything. But would you like to say something that, no, that's not really there. They are still human, they're still a student. Like sometimes we are scared, sometimes you don't know what to do, and then sometimes we turn to other people for help. So any moment you would like to share to be a bit more?
I mean, at the end of the day, as you rightly said, like everyone is a human being. Even the most bravest, the most ruthless, the most deterministic leaders, they are human, they feel human emotions, and they have self-doubt, they often feel confused, they often have dilemmas. And for me, they like it was the same case basically. I know many of my friends who have led great initiatives, who have been the most outspoken, who have been the most deterministic, the most determined people I know, personally know. But in their private space, they have been insecure, they have been in doubt about their own capabilities, not just their leadership abilities, but their own self as a whole. And to me, that was no different case. For me, like, I remember taking the oath as the head boy, and my first thought was like, how am I supposed to lead such a big community of students with such, like, I know personally, like many of my juniors, they were such talented and capable individuals, and for me, seeing them and seeing how developed and how confident they are of their abilities, it obviously puts you in doubt whether you are the right person to lead from the front. But I think in the end, there's no such thing as being absolutely right, so to say. You have got to build yourself to that point where other people admire you, other people look up to you, and other people respect your opinions. So for me, I've been an insecure person, I've been a shy person, I've been a socially anxious person, and I've always been accepting of that fact about myself. But what is life? Life is about improving yourself day by day. And to me, my journey as the head boy of this institution has been no less of a journey of improving myself while leading others. So yeah, I think in general, every leader is insecure to their core. Every leader has their own doubts. But when it comes to leading the community, leading their group from the front, they would never shy from that. And I think that's the realization that every leader needs to have. And anyone who is like willing to become a leader, they need to have that realization. And that's what you require. You don't need to be fully confident of yourself. You don't need to be totally like in control all the time. That's never going to happen. What you need to be is being 100% sure that you are going to improve yourself every day and give the best of your opinions to everyone who you are leading. And when you do that, I don't think anyone can be a better leader than you. So yeah.
As we know of the recent unrest, the conflict that happened, as an international student, how did it feel? Like, what were the thoughts going through your mind, the worries and everything, to see your homeland go through such unrest?
As an international student, you're always concerned about the people back home. Like, it's not just me or my friends, it's almost everyone. Like, anyone who has, like, who comes from a turbulent state, or who comes from a turbulent region, even if you are not, you're always worried about your home, your parents, your siblings, your family back home, about their health, about their well-being. So even from the minutest point of view, as an international student, it's always difficult to be so far away from home. And for me personally, like, I mean, I was supposed to come back to Kashmir in early May, and I had my flight scheduled from Doha to Bombay and then Bombay to Srinagar. I landed in Bombay on May 7 in the morning, and that's when the airspace got closed. And then I had to I had to take a flight from Bombay to Patna and then Patna to Delhi, just to find a safe shelter and just to stay somewhere for a while until the airspace opened. So I was stuck in Delhi for 10 days, and then finally I was able to arrange a road trip back home from Delhi to Srinagar. And it was a 15-hour trip, and for me that was a very transformative experience, because then you realize that even when you're far away from home, life can change at any time and everything is so unpredictable. So that was a really difficult learning experience for me. And all throughout I was obviously thinking about the people of my state, the people of my country, who were going through tough times. So for me, that anxiety, that sense of dilemma, that sense of uncertainty was really challenging. But I'm really thankful that we were able to get through that and rise above it as a community. So yeah.
On that note, while being abroad, mixing with so many cultures, ethnicities, linguistic backgrounds, how do you stay connected to your Kashmiri roots?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can never stop being a Desi, you can never stop being an Indian, you can never stop being a Kashmiri, because for somebody who's so far away from home, and even in a society where being a South Asian is not not seen in the most favorable light, you automatically get connected to your roots. There are only two options that you have. Either you just abandon your traditions, that you abandon your cultures and you stop expressing your own identity, your cultural identity, or you become more attached to it. And I chose the latter part because I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of the identity that I have. So for me, making sure that I stay connected to my roots was the most ideal option for me. And I always tried to do that. I used to listen to Kashmiri songs. I even sometimes when I used to miss home, I used to order wazwan from a local Kashmiri restaurant in Doha, and I used to make sure that I'm connected to whatever is happening in Kashmir on Instagram and stuff. So yeah, I even when I was in Doha, even when my body was in Doha, my soul was in Kashmir. So yeah.
Well, as we come to the conclusion, if there was one thing you would want to say to the students who are listening, tuning into us right now, what would it be?
Well, that's a very deep question, to be honest. There are so many things that I would have said to my younger self for sure, when I was having this dilemma about what career to choose, what sort of a personality I want to have, what sort of an image I want to have out there in the society, amongst my peers, amongst my friends. So I would just say that for anyone who's in that stage, who's in his adolescence, they need to try out different things, and make sure that they fully understand themselves as a human being. You need to understand your values, you need to understand your strengths and weaknesses, and make sure that you fully utilize them, you fully utilize your strengths, and you work on your weaknesses. So this whole stage, this entire process of growing up, it demands you for constant self introspection, making sure that you are always aware of your feelings, how you feel about certain things, what you like, what you dislike, and that will make sure that when you go out there in the open, you're confident about your abilities, you're confident about your own self. Because when you're out there in the public, that's going to leave the first impression about you in the minds of people. So yeah, that would be my advice. Always try to discover yourself through every action and through every experience.
As you've probably noticed, there have been many changes, many new initiatives that have been taken to school. Burnhall Pulse is probably one of them. Another big one is the Flame, which is our newsletter that we have launched. Is there anything you would like to share, your opinion about this? Are we headed in the right direction? Are we doing good?
Well, I think during my tenure as the head boy, we laid the foundation of this initiative, especially about having a school magazine, having a school newsletter, because I had pushed for setting up an editorial board in the latter half of my tenure. It was a very arduous process. We had to go through selection. We had to invite applications for the post of editors, and even go through these applications, interview a lot of people, and it was a very arduous process. And I'm happy to see how things have changed, things have evolved, and things have moving ahead. I am really happy that these literary initiatives and even the Burnhall Pulse, these mediums of helping students and staff and the voices in the Burnhall community, giving them a space to shine. I think that's a really good initiative, and it really reflects the values of this institution of accepting feedback, of accepting suggestions, of giving voice to the voiceless. So for me, I'm really happy to see that these initiatives have taken a good form, and they are really functional. So yeah, for me the feedback would just be this: I would want this to continue. I would want future student council members to continue these initiatives and make sure they constantly improve themselves and invite more guests, even from outside the community, outside the school community, and take into account these suggestions and the feedbacks that are given through these mediums. So yeah.
Thank you. We here at the Student Council really appreciate your appreciation, and it's really what fuels us, drives us forward. Thank you, Ahmed. It was really nice having you here. Talking to you has really opened my eyes to many ways to see the world. Thank you for taking your time, sharing us with your wisdom and all. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Keep tuning in, keep listening, keep learning, keep growing. This is Mohammad bin Asif signing off.